any evidence that Jack Ciattarelli will bring down energy prices for New Jersey homeowners by half, whereas he accuses Mikie Sherrill of potentially raising those prices by double. Now, Sherrill, she has proposed an emergency order, one of her first acts as governor, if she's elected, to freeze energy costs from being hiked. That is a critical issue in this race. And she's also focused on fighting Trump. So again, we go to that theme of a referendum on Donald Trump. One of the issues that she has seized upon is Trump's decision to freeze funding for the tunnel linking New Jersey and New York City, the Amtrak rail tunnel. So polls close at 8 o'clock in New Jersey, and we will be watching the votes here from Jack Ciattarelli's headquarters in Bridgewater.
Thank you so much, Mike. We will keep an eye on that and be back to you to get more information tonight, as well as keep our eyes peeled for those poll closings coming up, like you mentioned. The AP has played an important role in U.S. elections for nearly 180 years. With that in mind, we will return you now to our live look at AP's Washington, D.C. newsroom. This is where our decision desk is going to be making the calls that declare winners in tonight's elections. And in just a few moments, we'll be bringing you rare live access to that newsroom, where we'll learn more about what goes into these decisions from Saagar's conversation with Washington Bureau Chief Anna Johnson. After the break. See you in a moment.
From the Associated Press, this is an Election Night 2025 update. Live from Washington, here is Meg Kennard.
Welcome back. The Associated Press has long been known for our coverage of U.S. elections. Saagar is downstairs in our AP newsroom with Washington Bureau Chief Anna Johnson for a conversation about the role that AP plays in United States elections. Saagar, take it away.
Election night, obviously a big night on the calendar every year. It is the biggest night on the calendar here at AP Washington, and the person who knows best how to tell us exactly what goes on behind the scenes. How do these races get called? Anna, give us a sense of all this activity and what it'll be like for the next few hours.
Yeah, so we are in the Washington Bureau. This is where it all happens on election night. Behind me you see reporters, editors, producers, all working on the coverage of all of these races around the country. We also have our elections team, and what that means, we have our race analysts, our vote count team, and of course our decision team, they tally up the vote, they analyze the vote, and they will declare winners in these races tonight.
We always call this internally the AP's single biggest act of journalism. For a company that does incredible amounts of journalism every day, what is the scope of this and the tradition, and what does it mean to the AP and to everyone here to be able to pull this off, essentially?
Elections are just a fundamental part of the Associated Press. We've been calling races since 1848, so a really long time. And, it is one of those events that it truly is sort of the single largest act of journalism. The whole company gets involved in our elections coverage in some way, shape, or form. And so on election night, it's always a special place to be here in the Washington Bureau and to see and be part of all of this. Obviously, this is an off-year election, so it's a little smaller than what you might see in a midterms or presidential election when we're calling, 5,000 contested races. It's a bit fewer races this time around, but it's still just a huge part of who the AP is.
And this is not just for internal use. This is not what we're putting on the wire or on the radio or on TV. This is going out. What we call here is going out all over the place.
Absolutely. Obviously, it's on our platforms, but we have customers all over the United States and all over the world who depend on the Associated Press, on our coverage, and of course on those race calls. They really do. And so once the AP calls a race, you'll see that all over the world.
We've got poll closings coming up, so we will let you get back to it. Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you.
A lot more votes to come in, a lot more races to call, and we will have it all for you later on after we get back to Meg Kennard.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Sagar. We will be utilizing and relying on information coming from that newsroom all night on this live stream, and we thank you so much for that. We will be back with you near the top of the next hour as polls start to close on the East Coast, and as we draw closer to some of tonight's first AP race calls. We'll return you now to live pictures across the country, including New York City and Virginia, where we have images coming into us now from Democrat Abigail Spanberger's campaign. Polls will be closing soon in Virginia, and we will be bringing you more information on that contest as this live stream continues. Back with you soon.
From the Associated Press, this is an Election Night 2025 update. Live from Washington, here is Meg Kennard.
Welcome back. We now have our first round of poll closings in the next governor, and in Georgia, where there's a mayoral race tonight in Atlanta. We're not making calls in these races yet, but Sagar, I wanted to take a moment to kind of dive in with you a little bit on the candidates, particularly in this Virginia gubernatorial race. Remind us a little bit about their bios and how they've staked their campaigns this year.
There will be history made one way or the other. Virginia has never in its long history had a female governor. It will be one of these two candidates. You have Abigail Spanberger. She's 46. She's a sitting member of the House of Representatives. What's interesting about her is she has gotten away from what the Democratic Party has been pushing and focusing on, which is that progressive part of the party, the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez type folks. She's more of a centrist to the left, and that was what helped Democrats win the House in 2018. She is banking on that same approach, helping her win here. And Democrats are watching to see if that message resonates, if that's something after being beaten so badly a year ago, with that kind of approach, with that shift, help them replicate that come the midterms. She has a very interesting resume. She was a CIA case officer. She used to go undercover overseas. Then she became a businesswoman. Then she ran for the House, where she has now served for 6 years before leaving to run this race. She had Barack Obama campaign with her over the weekend, the biggest name in Democratic politics.
Right.
Contrast that with Winsome Earl Sears, who is the sitting lieutenant governor, staunch conservative, backs Donald Trump. Donald Trump did not endorse her. Donald Trump did not say her name during a tele-rally for the GOP ticket.
Right, he's just said, I support Republicans.
You should vote for the Republican
Right.
candidate. He held a rally for them and never said her name. So that doesn't bode well from the perspective of a lot of Republican voters who say, oh, Donald Trump backs them, I'm going to back them too. So it'll be interesting to see whether that plays in. She has an interesting background as well. She was born in Jamaica, immigrated to the U.S. as a little kid, also served in the military. She was a electrician in the Marine Corps, then became a business owner, then started running for lower offices in Virginia. She is the only woman to have been elected statewide like that. She would become the first black female governor anywhere in America if she is able to pull off what at this point does not seem very likely based on some of the polling. Abigail Spanberger's all but written her off, but we'll have to see what happens there.
Certainly, now that polls are closed, maybe we'll start to see some of those results coming in, and then we'll get closer to those AP race calls from tonight. So thank you so much for that recap. We'll be back with you in the next half hour as more polls close in Charlotte as well as Cincinnati, which is holding a mayoral race of its own tonight. We will also keep watching live video from tonight's major races, including New York City, as you see on your screen with that top mayoral contest tonight. We're also going to bring you some live pictures from Houston, where voting is going to be wrapping up in the next couple of hours, but we are seeing some long lines outside this polling location that you see as folks are getting off work and stopping by their polling place to cast their votes. We'll be back with you soon.
I'm gonna laugh, but I thought that was gambling. Okay, Paul.
No, I have not listened. They know that.
What the mic sounds like. I can't see any of you. It's very bright up here. Mic sound good. All right, I'm just going to keep talking. Oh, I see. Okay, I understand who this is for now. Sorry. I'd like to tell the story. What did I have for breakfast? I had a weird little bowl from Costco. I can say about the run of the night, sure, that at some point Sarah Mamdani will be here, and yes, we are hoping for a woo, and he will speak. We'll play some music. There will be some tables set up here in the front for folks who want to lean. We'll have some room for dancing, and yeah, we'll dance. We'll have a DJ over here. The DJ played at our soccer tournament. Great. It definitely sounds a little echoey up here. I don't know if it's supposed to, but if it's not supposed to, the echo to the stage is quite a lot. It remains very bright, so still just looking at a bunch of lights. Oh, that's better. Thank you. Okay, gonna keep talking. Thank you. Yeah. Nope, we're still checking. Okay, keep checking. Let's see, what did I have for lunch today? I had matzo ball soup from Jamie's across the street. It was really tasty. If anybody needs some matzo ball soup, head on over to Junior's. Might have some cheesecake later. Oh boy. Yep. Can somebody yell if you still need me to be talking and I'll keep talking? Okay, keep talking, please. Great. I'm going to continue talking. Well, let's see. Today is November 4th. It is election day. Polls open at 6 o'clock a.m. Hope they close at 9 on schedule. We're getting a teleprompter set up here. This is nice. There's a person taking my photo. Great. I'm glad I got my glam on before I signed up. We are still checking. We're deciding what walkout music will be played this evening. It's going to be a big surprise, or you might hear it in like 2 minutes. One or the other. And we're still checking. How does it sound out in the house? Keep going. Okay. Wow, thank you, Corey. Hello. All right, we're checking. We are at the Zoran Mamdani Election Night Party here at Brooklyn Paramount, which is located in Brooklyn on Flatbush Avenue. What other fun facts do I know about this building? The ceiling is very pretty. You should look up. If you haven't looked up yet, the ceiling in the lobby, also very pretty. Lots of different lights you can put on that. This used to be a basketball court, which just feels like a very weird space to have a basketball court. And I wonder if you let us see what is a basketball court. Ooh, I hope you guys are getting your sound. Let's see. What else? I don't think anyone will use the handheld mic. They will look to talk right here. Keep it going. Thank you, Corey. Yes, okay. And we are now checking. You can hear me talking. Just keep talking. Corey, what else should I tell the fine folks in the room? Let's see. It's going to be a fun party. We're going to do lots of dancing. That table just looked like it was about to fall over. Big fetch for persons to top that table. We are still talking into the mic. Here we go. Oh, he's cutting our videos. I am talking. All right. Let's see. What are we talking about? We're talking about freezing the rent. We're talking about making buses fast and free. We're talking about universal child care. Zoran Mamdani will stand up here and say a lot of words about those things. You will thank our staff. You will thank our volunteers. You will, I should not be screaming. I don't know what he's going to say. But I imagine that's how an election day speech goes. And we're still checking. In the House, do we still need me to be talking? All right, I think we're done sound checking. Told to keep talking. I don't know who needs me to still keep talking, but I will keep talking. What else can I talk to you about? Today is November. The weather was very nice. It was not super cold. If you were at our election night party in June, it was quite hot. It was on a roof, and we didn't have nearly as many risers. So I hope this is feeling like an upgrade. We are still checking. I don't know what to tell you about. What's happening in the news today? It is 7:27 p.m., which means polls close. Oh, it's dark now. Okay, polls close in about an hour and 33 minutes. And I am still up here talking. I hope I will not be talking for another hour and 33 minutes, but I am continuing. Yes, so the news cameras did not woo that they need me to keep talking. They told someone. Okay. I hope you guys are getting your audio set. I can't see any of you, so if you need me to keep going, I'm just going to keep talking. What else can I talk to you about? This is why I don't make the campaign speeches. What is the weather report? Yes, that's a great idea, Matt. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to look at what our weather report is. So today, Tuesday, November 4th, it is currently 54 degrees. It looks like it's quite nice outside. I have not been outside in a little while. It's going to stay pretty steady at 55 degrees, but it's going to drop maybe down to about 49 by the time this party ends. We've got a nice forecast this week, actually. Not a lot of rain. Going to be high of 61 tomorrow. High of 64 on Wednesday, dropping down to 54. Maybe I have found my career here as a meteorologist. Dropping down to 54 on Thursday, and then back up to 58 on Friday. Saturday, nice and warm, high of 65. Definitely getting into that fall weather. Looks like a little bit of a chance of rain on Sunday. And then clear skies again, nice and sunny for the rest of next week. It's going to be a bit cold a week from today, high of 44. Current conditions right now, we've got wind at 6 miles per hour, 33% humidity, dew point at 26 degrees. Not too humid. Thank you. I'm just going to keep going because I think y'all need me to still be talking, but I hope I could stop talking soon. Sunrise this morning was 6:30 a.m. You know, we walked across the bridge at sunrise yesterday morning, and it was a very rude awakening that sunrise had gone an hour earlier. If we had done that last week, it would have been at 7:30, and it was a very early day. Sunset, 4:48, also pretty rude. Not the end of the world, though. Let's see. Currently, UV index 0. I think it's dark outside. And pressure, 30.13. Let's see what our hourly for tomorrow is looking like. We're going to start 46 degrees in the morning, all the way up to 58 at 11 a.m., up to 64 at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. sounds like a nice time to go outside tomorrow. How are we doing out there? Are we getting our sound set? Do you want me to keep talking? The guy that told me to keep talking isn't there anymore. Humidity looks like it's going to be a little bit more humid tomorrow, 43%. Sunrise at 6:31 a.m. and sunset a minute earlier at 4:47 p.m. That is so early. Let's look ahead to Friday, getting into the weekend. Our sunset on Friday is going to be 4:45 p.m. This is a real bummer, you guys. I'm very disappointed that we are in that time of year where the sun is setting very, very early. All right. Let's see what else we've got happening. We are in November. Blah, 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 blah. You guys still need me to keep talking. I now can see that there's someone on a ladder, which is very exciting. I can't see where the ladder is going, but it's looking good. We've got lots of lights set up here in the space. I like that bubbly one up there. Are we good? No, you were not telling me that we're good. Okay, just gonna keep going. These cocktail tables at the front are looking beautiful. Thank you so much for setting those up. It's a very nice, very chic looking tablecloth situation that we've got going there. Those will be the hottest seats in the house.
From the Associated Press, this is an Election Night 2025 update. Live from Washington, here is Meg Kennard.
No, I've got nothing.
Back to you, Philip.
Just to let you know, I've got nothing through IFB right now.
From the Associated Press, this is an Election Night 2025 update. Live from Washington, here is Meg Kennard.
Welcome back. And we have Philip Crowther back in New York City, where he's been covering the mayoral race for us this evening, and we're going back to him for some more information. So, Philip, back to you.
Yeah, and it's great to be with you from the ornate Paramount Theatre here in downtown Brooklyn. This is the headquarters for Zoran Mamdani tonight, for the 34-year-old state assembly member here in New York. This is where we expect him to give his speech later tonight, a speech that, of course, he himself hopes will be a victory speech. A little note on timings here in New York City. Voting underway. We still have just about an hour and a half to go of voting. It closes at 9 p.m., started at 6 a.m. this morning, and of course here in New York City there was early voting as well. And it's worth noting that the numbers, the participation in this mayoral election so far, those numbers are very high. The New York City Board of Elections says that 1.7 million New Yorkers have voted so far. That was at 6 p.m. tonight. Now, I mentioned earlier when we spoke, Meg, about the interest in this race, and that I noted that I hadn't seen this much media interest in a mayoral race, and certainly hadn't seen this much media interest in anything maybe outside of one of the big primaries ahead of a presidential contest, or even a rally held by a presidential candidate. We're seeing interest from local media, from national media, also from international media. A lot of journalists here, and among them is Tara Palmieri, who's joining us now here at Zoran Mamdani's Tara Palmieri show on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, we mentioned the enthusiasm around Zoran Mamdani and also the interest in this election, first of all, those high turnout numbers. Have you noted that enthusiasm here in New York City for Zoran Mamdani, like a lot of people have mentioned over the last few days and weeks, as interest has ramped up?
Absolutely. I mean, you've seen early voting through the roof. My doorbell has been rung many times as people have tried to encourage get out the vote. There's always been this sort of enthusiasm around him. He is seen as a wrecking ball for the establishment. Andrew Cuomo, his rival, is seen as an avatar of the establishment. And he has just brought this enthusiasm for progressive politics back to the city after, I think, an electorate pretty disillusioned by Eric Adams and his tenure, and really hoping for more programs that, people in this city who are struggling with affordability can enjoy, so that the city can be for strivers, not just for the hedge fund types, for the Wall Street titans, that people who come here to dream can have a chance. And so you're seeing a lot of young people coming out, and they're the ones who are really hitting the streets and the pavements for Zoran. And I haven't seen anything like this, even from Bill de Blasio's campaign, even though he ran on a very similarly progressive agenda. It's just that Zoran is sort of this once-in-a-generation type of candidate in the way that he speaks to people in his social media posts, his youth. I mean, he's 34 years old, right? This big smile, his viral videos. He's kind of illuminated what it is to be a New Yorker with his, videos of eating halal and talking about what everyday New Yorkers care about. And, in contrast, you have someone like Andrew Cuomo, who really hasn't done much retail politicking at all. He hasn't been shaking hands. He really ran what some would call a Rose Garden campaign after the debate, an event, 2 events a day. You would think that someone who's really fighting for it would work harder, but he's had the establishment behind him. He's had the retail lobby. He's had the donors. And Mamdani's run a grassroots campaign with a lot of really wealthy people working against him.
And Mamdani's somebody who, as we noted from what you said, a lot of people think they know on first-name basis, right? He's known as Zoran simply by a lot of voters here in New York City. Now, what are some of the reasons that voters have told you why they are voting for Zoran Mamdani? Now, he is the front runner, of course, to become mayor of New York City tonight. What are some of those main reasons? Do they fit with the program that he has as mayor of New York?
I think it's absolutely about affordability. I mean, he is promising child care for all, universal child care. That's very popular in New York City. We're very close to it. There's 3K, pre-K, and that was actually established under Bill de Blasio. Some see him it's expensive, but they want him to keep extending it, and he may be able to. Universal busing is very popular. You know, city-run groceries. It's never been done before. I mean, they tried to do it in Kansas. It didn't work out too well in Kansas City, but if New York can't do it, you know, he's only suggesting 5. He does say he wants to raise corporate tax rates and the tax rates on wealthy individuals, but that would have to go through the state, and I don't think that Kathy Hochul would do that in an election year. She's the governor, she's up for re-election. But I do think she's going to be supportive of a lot of these progressive ideas, because it was New York City that really helped her squeak out a win against Lee Zeldin in the last race, and she's going to need progressives to help her get over the line in the next election. So she needs Zohran Mamdani, and that's why you saw her campaigning out there with AOC and Bernie Sanders recently, and then there's Kathy Hochul, this kind of center-left Democrat. It was a little odd, but she's clearly aware that she needs this constituency to win, whereas, you know, Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, neighbor, a little bit careful about endorsing. Chuck Schumer still has not endorsed, and I think that just shows you how threatened and worried the Democratic establishment is about a Democratic socialist running a city of 8 million people, which is as large as Virginia, the other election in this tonight. So we'll see how he does. 2 million people coming out. That's a lot. That's huge turnout. I don't think I've heard of that in my entire time covering city politics. I used to be a City Hall reporter for the New York Post. Certainly not in the elections that I covered. So we'll see what the numbers are like. Everyone's just looking to see if he pushes over 50%. And if he's able to do that, that means his mandate will certainly be stronger, and he can make arguments to the state Senate and to the city council to really approve some of his broader and far-reaching agenda.
You've covered quite a few races for mayor here in New York City, and the administrations of Bloomberg and de Blasio. In how far would you say this race, this time around, is different to other mayoral races that you've seen in this city?
I think by the third term that I covered for Mayor Bloomberg, people were a little bit over it. He had to spend a lot of money. He ran as an independent. They sort of begrudgingly took him for a third term, right? There wasn't a sort of enthusiasm. When I covered Bill de Blasio, you know, I think there was excitement, but I think, you know, he leaned into having a biracial family, and that was kind of cool and different. Go with the fro was his campaign based on his son's fro, and he had this very progressive agenda as well. But he didn't really spark a national interest in the way that Zohran Mamdani has. And so I think what you're seeing right now is just like a surge of youth vote. And you know, there's the other part about it is that Zohran Mamdani is very controversial because of his stances on Israel, right? And you know, he said that if Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, comes to New York, he will arrest him for being a war criminal. This is a very controversial stance in New York City, a city where Bill de Blasio went to visit Israel. You know, Andrew Cuomo has gone to visit Israel. Mayoral candidates are asked whether they will go to visit Israel. And it's interesting, when he was asked during the debate if he would go to Israel, he was like, I'm the mayor of New York. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here right now. But, you know, it's a difficult place to have that sort of position. And he was, you know, literally protesting outside of Chuck Schumer's house in support of the Palestinian people. And it's some of his comments in the past have made a certain white ethnic group of Americans in New York City, New Yorkers, uncomfortable with him, and have, I think, kept Andrew Cuomo in the race for as long as he's been running on an independent line.
Well, certainly a race that's being watched very closely. We'll hear more from you throughout the night. That's Tara Palmieri, who hosts the Tara Palmieri Show on YouTube. Again, we'll be hearing a lot more throughout the night on this mayoral race here in New York City. Again, we do expect to hear from Zohran Mamdani, the 34-year-old state assembly member, on stage here at the Paramount Theatre later tonight. Of course, after polls close, that's at 9 p.m. local time. And Meg, of course, will be bringing you the updates from here throughout the night as soon as Zohran Mamdani is on stage. Again, he hopes that his speech here in downtown Brooklyn will be a victory speech. We are seeing slowly but surely his supporters arriving here, and they again hope to celebrate a victory here tonight.
Thank you so much, Philip. We will be keeping a close eye on video coming into us from where you are there with Zoran Mamdani's campaign. We're also continuing to keep a close eye on some more of the live video that you see on your screen, including coming into us from Virginia, where polls have now closed, and so now the counting is ongoing in the governor's race. We are at the campaigns for both candidates, for Republican Winsome Earl Sears, as well as Democrat Abigail Spanberger. So we will be bringing you those live images and keeping our eyes peeled for any incoming AP race calls as they are made. We will bring them to you. Back soon.
stage, fucking I was going crazy. I come from the 1918s. Communist still I drop lazy. And I like energy. Energy. Energy.
volunteers and our campaign.
From the Associated Press, this is an Election Night 2025 update. Live from Washington, here is Meg Kennard.
This is a breaking alert that has just moved on the AP wire. The Associated Press has determined that Democrat Abigail Spanberger has been elected as Virginia's first female governor. This call comes about an hour after polls closed in Virginia, the first in the wave of poll closings happening this evening across the country. Joining me to dive further into this race is Sagar Magani. Sagar, so let's recap. What was at stake in this race, and what does it mean now that AP has declared Spanberger the victor?
Like the other races all around the country, Meg, this is essentially a referendum on the first 9 months of the Trump term. He lost Virginia in 3 straight races, but gained ground in the most recent presidential election last year. So this was essentially a test of whether someone like the sitting lieutenant governor, who is generally in the Trump type of mold, Winsome Earl-Sears, could be a Republican that would win in a swing state. That obviously did not happen. This call came very quickly. Abigail Spanberger, who has been more of a centrist Democrat than a lot of the progressives that we've seen, that seemed to resonate with voters there, keeping in mind that Virginia's been particularly hit hard by a lot of Trump policies. More than 100,000 federal workers in the state. So the government shutdown that as of midnight will become the longest in American history has hit hard there. And Spanberger made it a point not to directly go after Trump in her rally. She often didn't even name him. She just talked about ways the state could move forward. That obviously resonated over picking someone who, again, is in Trump's general mold.
So definitely in this campaign, and I've seen it every time I'm here in Washington, all of the ads, the influx of discussion about things that the Trump administration has brought to Virginians, but also coming here from here in the capital area, spilling over into Virginia, as you referenced, that could have been on a lot of people's minds.
This is partly what the GOP feared, was that there would be backlash, and there always is the year or two after a presidential election. But again, this was a testing ground of sorts to see whether that Trump message played. It did not. It's notable that the president barely backed Winsome Earl-Sears. We mentioned it earlier. He had a tele-rally for the candidates last night. Never once said her name.
Right.
All he generically said was vote for the Republican. Didn't say her name, never endorsed her, never stepped foot in Virginia for campaign purposes. So he essentially stayed out of it while giving full-throated support to the GOP candidate for governor in New Jersey. This was categorically the opposite. And as a result, Democrats win back the governor's seat after Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, won 4 years ago.
Right. Thank you for that analysis. We'll be keeping our eyes out for more AP race calls as they come in. As you can see on your screen, we have images coming in, live pictures from Spanberger's campaign rally in Virginia, as well as Republican Winsome Earl-Sears. So if either of these candidates come out to speak to their supporters, we will be bringing you those images and comments live as well. For now, we are also going to show you some images coming from Pennsylvania, where Philadelphia is counting votes. Polls have closed in that state of Pennsylvania, which is considering elections that have impact on the state Supreme Court there. So we will return you to these live images. Polls have closed, as a reminder, in new states as of this hour, including Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Maine, and New Jersey, where we still have our eyes on that gubernatorial contest as well. We will be back with you soon with more information coming into us from AP journalists across the country, as well as AP race calls as they come to us from our decision desk. Back soon.